Imagine living a life where every single breath you take is a lie. Every report card, every piano recital, every "I'm going to school." It's all fake. For years. Now, imagine the pressure building up so high that the only way out isn't running away. It's murder. Welcome back to Alphanom. Today, we're dissecting one of the most twisted cases of tiger parenting gone wrong. This is the story of Jennifer Pan, the golden child who decided that her parents' death was the only ticket to her freedom. Let's get into it. To really wrap your head around this tragedy, you have to understand where Hann and Bich came from. They weren't just strict parents. They were survivors. They fled Vietnam as refugees, leaving everything behind to chase that classic immigrant dream in Canada. And honestly, they crushed it. They landed jobs at Magna International, a car parts manufacturer, and worked grueling hours. We're talking about saving every single penny, driving old cars, and wearing worn-out clothes just so they could stack cash. Eventually, they bought a big, beautiful home with a 2-car garage in Markham, Ontario. Markham isn't just any suburb. It's a place where success is the only language spoken. If you live there, you made it. From the outside looking in, the Pans were the ultimate success story. Then came Jennifer in '86, followed by her brother Felix. And for Hann and Bich, Jennifer wasn't just a daughter. She was their legacy. She was the vessel for all their hopes and dreams. From the moment she could walk, the schedule was brutal. Piano lessons at age 4, flute, and the big one, figure skating. This wasn't just a hobby, guys. They were grooming her for the Winter Olympics. Imagine that pressure. You're waking up at 5 a.m., freezing cold rinks, training until your bones ache, then school, then homework until midnight. Everything was curated to be perfect. Trophies on the shelf, the perfect recital dress, the straight A's. She was the golden child. The neighbors looked at her and thought, wow, she's got it all. But here is the heartbreaking reality that nobody saw. Jennifer Pan was average. And I don't mean that as an insult. Most of us are average. But in the Pan household, average was a dirty word. Average was a failure. She tried so hard. She wasn't a natural genius. She had to stay up late cramming just to scrape by with B's, which she would then terrifyingly try to hide. Then, the first domino fell. In 8th grade, she tore a ligament in her knee. That was it. The Olympic dream. Shattered overnight. For most kids, quitting a sport is a relief. For Jennifer, it felt like she had already failed her life's purpose before she even graduated middle school. She started cutting herself. She felt like a burden. The perfect family image was still there on the outside, but inside, the foundation was rotting. It started with a single piece of paper. 8th grade. Jennifer brings home a report card with a B in math. Now, for 99% of kids, a B is respectable. For Hann Pan, it was unacceptable. It was a stain on the family honor. So Jennifer made a choice that would define the rest of her life. She didn't study harder. She got crafty. She grabbed some old report cards, a pair of scissors, a glue stick, and a photocopier. She literally cut out an A from an old card and pasted it over the B. She handed it to her dad. He looked at it, nodded, and smiled. And that moment right there, that was the drug. The relief was instant. She realized she didn't actually have to be perfect. She just had to look perfect. But as we all know, lies are like credit cards. You enjoy the moment now, but you pay for it later with interest. And the interest rate on Jennifer's lies was skyrocketing. By the time high school graduation rolled around, the lies had evolved from glue sticks to Photoshop. Jennifer failed calculus. That meant her early acceptance to Ryerson University was revoked. She wasn't going to college. But tell that to her parents? Impossible. So she forged an acceptance letter. She told them she was starting a science program. And for the next 4 years, 4 years, guys, she lived a phantom life. Every morning she'd wake up, eat breakfast with her parents, pack her backpack with heavy textbooks, and say, "Bye, Mom, I'm going to class." But she wasn't going to Ryerson. She would take public transit to the local library. She would sit there for hours, aimlessly browsing the internet, watching videos, or sleeping in a cubicle. Sometimes she'd go to cafes. Sometimes she'd visit Daniel Wong. Think about the logistics of this. She had to track school holidays, exam schedules, and even weather delays just to keep her story straight. She bought used textbooks and filled notebooks with fake physics notes just in case her dad checked her bag. The level of commitment here is absolutely mind-boggling. Now, you might be asking, wait, what about the tuition money? Wouldn't her dad notice he wasn't writing checks? Jennifer was one step ahead. She told them she won a $3,000 scholarship. She even forged documents to prove it. Since she wasn't actually paying tuition, she pocketed the money she earned from teaching piano and working at a restaurant to keep up the charade. But every lie has an expiration date. And for Jennifer, that date was graduation day. 4 years were up. Her parents were ecstatic. They wanted to see their daughter walk across that stage in her cap and gown. Panic set in. How do you fake a ceremony? You can't. So she came up with the most desperate lie yet. She told them that due to a ticket shortage and fire safety regulations, each student only got 1 ticket, and she had already given hers to a friend. Can you imagine telling your immigrant parents, who sacrificed their entire lives for this moment, that they aren't allowed to come to your graduation? It broke their hearts, but surprisingly, they bought it, at least for a little while. You know, liars often get caught not because of the big lie, but because of the small details. Jennifer told her parents she was volunteering at the Hospital for Sick Children, Sick Kids, in Toronto. It was part of her fake life. But Hann, his internal alarm bells were ringing. He was starting to notice things didn't add up. Why didn't she have a uniform? Why was her ID badge missing? So he set a trap. He insisted on driving her to work. Jennifer, terrified, couldn't say no without blowing her cover. She gets in the car. They drive to the hospital. She gets out and walks inside. But Hann didn't drive away. He waited. Then he followed her inside. He asked the nurses, "Does a Jennifer Pan work here?" The answer was a confused no. When Jennifer came back out and saw her dad standing there, she knew. The game was up. 4 years of lies, thousands of dollars, fake degrees, fake graduation, it all evaporated in that parking lot. When they got home, the explosion wasn't physical. It was stricter than prison. Hann and Bich were humiliated. Their golden child was a fraud. So they implemented what I can only describe as tiger parenting on steroids. First, they took her laptop, then her cell phone. They cut off her internet access. She was 24 years old, guys, a grown woman, and she wasn't allowed to leave her bedroom without permission. But it gets crazier. She was allowed to teach piano, but that was it. If she used the family car. Her dad would check the odometer before she left and after she came back to make sure she didn't drive a single extra mile. She was completely isolated. No friends, no outside world. Just the 4 walls of her room and the disappointment of her parents staring her in the face every day. For Jennifer, this wasn't love or discipline. This was torture. But the biggest blow was Daniel Wong. Her parents blamed him for everything. They saw him as the bad influence who corrupted their daughter. Hann gave her an ultimatum that pushed her over the edge. You have 2 choices. You stay here, follow our rules, and never see that boy again, or you go with him and you are dead to us. You lose your family forever. Jennifer couldn't let go. She managed to sneak a secret burner phone into her room. Late at night, under the covers, she would text Daniel. This is where the psychology shifts. She felt trapped. She wanted the inheritance money to start a life with Daniel, but she couldn't get it if she was disowned. In her warped reality, there was a wall standing between her and her happiness. That wall was Hann and Bich Pan. And she decided the wall had to come down. That's when the texts changed from "I miss you" to "I need help," to get rid of them. November 8th, 2010. It's a Monday night. The neighborhood is quiet. Inside the Pan house, everything seems normal. Bich is soaking her feet after dance class. Hann is reading the paper. But upstairs, Jennifer is awake, and she's waiting. At around 10 p.m., she gives the signal. She walks into the study and flicks the lights on and off. Then she goes downstairs and unlocks the front door. Within minutes, 3 men, David Milvaganum, Lenford Crawford, and Eric Cardy storm through the front door. They're armed with guns. It's showtime. They immediately grab Hann and Bich. They demand money. "Where is the money? Give us the cash." It was all part of the script Jennifer helped write. They wanted it to look like a random home invasion robbery. But here's the thing, they didn't take the electronics. They didn't ransack the house for jewelry. They were focused on the people. The hitmen separate the family. They drag Hann and Bich down to the basement. This is where it gets brutal. They cover their heads with blankets. Jennifer, she's left upstairs. She's tied to the banister with a shoelace. A shoelace, guys. Remember that detail. In the basement, the gunmen make their move. They shoot Bich 3 times. She dies instantly. Enter Detective Bill Goetz. In the world of true crime, this guy is a grandmaster. Now, notice his strategy. He doesn't storm in, slamming his fist on the table, yelling, "Did you do it?" No, that's Hollywood. Real detectives build rapport. Goetz treats Jennifer like a victim. He offers her water. He speaks softly. He sympathizes with her trauma. He makes her feel safe. This is a calculated move to lower her defenses. He wants Jennifer to talk, to keep spinning her story, because he knows that the more she talks, the more rope she gives him to hang her with. Jennifer, thinking she's smarter than everyone in the room, plays the role of the grieving daughter perfectly. Or so she thinks. She's sobbing, shaking, playing the victim card hard. But Goetz? He's just watching. He's cataloging every twitch, every pause, every contradiction. Here is where the story starts to crack. Goetz focuses on the mechanics of the night, specifically, how she was tied up. Jennifer claims the intruders tied her hands behind her back to the banister on the top floor. Okay, scary situation. But then she claims she managed to grab her cell phone from her pocket and dial 911. Goetz stops her. He asks her to demonstrate. The math just ain't mathing, guys. Think about the flexibility required to reach into a pocket, retrieve a phone, unlock it, and dial, all while your hands are bound tight against a railing behind you. It's physically impossible unless you're a contortionist. Goetz knows it's a lie, but he doesn't call her a liar yet. He just lets the silence hang there. He lets her sit in the awkwardness of her own impossible story. You can see Jennifer shifting in her seat. She knows she messed up. The seed of doubt is planted. Now Goetz shifts gears. He uses a classic interrogation tactic called minimization. He stops asking questions and starts giving reasons. He tells her, "Jennifer, I don't think you're a monster. I think you made a mistake. I think things got out of hand." He starts blaming the dad. He says, "Your dad was too hard on you. He pushed you. You just wanted to be free, right? It wasn't about hate. It was about love. You wanted to be with Daniel. This is brilliant." He is offering her a moral exit. He's saying, "If you confess, we will understand. You aren't evil, just troubled." Jennifer takes the bait. She stops denying. She nods. She starts to think, maybe if I tell him a little bit of the truth, he will let me go. But that's the trap. In a murder investigation, there is no little bit of truth. And then, the moment we've all been waiting for. The kill shot. Goetz leans in, looks her dead in the eye, and drops the nuclear bomb. He says, "Jennifer, your father is out of the coma. He's awake, and he remembers everything. Watch the footage right here. Look at her face. It's not sadness. It's pure, unadulterated terror." Goetz continues. "He saw you, Jennifer. He saw you walking around the house freely. He saw you whispering to the gunman like you were friends. He knows." At that specific second, Jennifer Pan's soul leaves her body. The mask slips completely. There is no more grieving daughter. There is only a cornered animal. She breaks. But even then, she tries one last Hail Mary lie. She admits to hiring the hitmen, but she claims she hired them to kill her, not her parents. A suicide by hitman. But Guts isn't buying it, and neither are we. So, Jennifer is arrested, but she doesn't plead guilty. Oh no, she takes this to trial. And her defense? It was absolutely wild. Remember that suicide by hitman lie she told Detective Guts? She doubled down on it in court. She stood in front of the jury and claimed that she hired the hitmen to kill her because she was too scared to commit suicide herself. She said she called off the hit, but the hitmen, being greedy criminals, decided to rob the house anyway and shoot her parents by accident. Come on. The prosecution tore this apart. They had the text messages. They had the phone location data. They showed that Jennifer was communicating with Homeboy, the hitman, right up until the moment the killers entered the house. If she had called it off, why did she unlock the front door? Why did she signal with the lights? It was smoke and mirrors. She was trying to manipulate the jury the same way she manipulated her parents for a decade. But this time, the report card was real, and she was failing. On December 13th, 2014, after a massive 10-month trial, the jury came back. Guilty. First-degree murder for the death of her mother, Bich Hann. Attempted murder for her father, Hann. The judge sentenced her to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. Daniel Wong and the hitmen got the same sentence. But the real tragedy isn't Jennifer sitting in a cell. It's Han Pan. In his victim impact statement, Han wrote something that breaks my heart. He said, "When I lost my wife, I lost my life. I don't feel like I'm living. I feel like I am dead too." Because of his injuries, he can't work. He can't run. He suffers from chronic pain and anxiety. And the worst part? He has requested a non-communication order. He never wants to speak to Jennifer again. His daughter is dead to him. In one night, he lost his wife to murder and his daughter to prison. The house in Markham was sold. The perfect family was erased. So, where does that leave us? The case of Jennifer Pan is a dark warning. It's easy to look at her and see a monster. And yeah, what she did was monstrous. But we also have to look at the environment that created her. Was she born evil? Or was she a product of tiger parenting pushed to the absolute breaking point? Did the pressure to be perfect create a psychopath? Or did it just reveal one? I really want to hear your take on this. Are strict parents to blame when kids snap? Or is Jennifer 100% responsible for her own choices? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read all of them. This has been a deep dive into the Jennifer Pan tragedy on Alpha Nom. If you appreciate the research and the storytelling, please hit that like button. It helps the channel massively. Subscribe and turn on notifications because our next case, it's even darker. Until then, stay safe, keep your expectations realistic, and watch who you text. Peace.